It's getting hot in here on this edition of College Football Now, powered by Chat Sports. We're going to look at 10 coaches who are on the hot seat here at the Week 7 point of the college football season, including this guy. You probably could have guessed that before we even started. We'll tell you who the 10 are, talk about their situations coming up in just a bit. Tyler Jones here with you. Thanks for joining us. Now, your coach might not be on the hot seat and maybe gearing up to make the college football playoff. And if that is the case, if you want your team to make the CFP, like the video. Get some good luck, some good vibes your team's direction. Like the video, we'll get started with today's show. Let's begin with the one and only Billy Napier at Florida. It has been a mess, an absolute debacle, a disaster for Billy Napier with the Florida Gators, currently with a 3-2 record, 1-1 in the SEC, and this is a dumpster fire. And it's not just the product that you're seeing on the football. Your eyes are not lying to you, folks. Not only is this a bad team, but everything else going on behind the scenes of how Billy Napier has navigated the NIL portion of things, getting out recruited left and right at a powerhouse program that we've seen have success. They've won multiple national titles with different head coaches. When you talk about Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer, among others, there's no reason why Florida shouldn't be able to compete with the best of the best in the SEC, and they're just simply not doing so. The clock is ticking. The end is near. It's only a matter of who will replace him at this point, and we'll certainly have more on that down the line. Meanwhile, staying in the state of Florida, it is not looking great for Mike Norvell at Florida State. The Florida State Seminoles had a fantastic season last year, going undefeated, winning the ACC. But then when Jordan Travis went down, they missed the college football playoff. And they went into this year with the expectation of, hey, we're going to be right back. We're bringing in DJU. We're going to compete to win the ACC and get into the playoff this time. And what's happened since? A 1-5 record, 1-4 in the ACC. It started off bad against Georgia Tech week 1 in Ireland, and it's gone just downhill ever since. Their only win of the season so far was against Cal, just lost to Clemson this past week. And I think for me, the way I look at it, Mike Norvell has been exposed. I thought he was a fraud just a couple years ago with how slow he started at Florida State, and the fact that it took him, what was it, about 4 or 5 years before Florida State was even relevant again. The rebuild took way too long for the resources that Florida State has to their disposal here. With as good as Florida State can be, with their facilities, their tradition, with owning the ACC, it should not have taken them as long as it did to be a competitive football program at a high level. And then we see how things are going this year. I think this is the real version of Mike Norvell. I think that the Georgia Tech loss was pretty bad, but the worst of the worst was losing at home to his former school, Memphis, a couple of weeks ago. It is not looking good for Mike Norvell there in Tallahassee. Should Florida State fire Mike Norvell? What do you guys think? Type Y for yes, in for no. You decide on our pinned comment today. Weigh in. Let us know what you think. Today's show is sponsored by Game Time. Game Time is the place to go for the best seats, the lowest prices guaranteed. Whether you're looking for tickets to sporting events, concerts, theater productions, comedy shows, and more, Game Time has got you covered. I'm still debating if I want to go to the Red River Rivalry this weekend in Dallas, but you better believe I'll be checking Game Time for tickets as we get closer to kickoff to see what the prices end up as, because the prices go down the closer you get to kickoff with Game Time, folks. Game Time is a new feature called Game Time Picks that helps making getting tickets to see your favorite teams play live even easier. Game Time Picks filters out the fluff to show you only incredible deals and great seats. You don't have to waste time searching through thousands of tickets. They have their super deals. I'm hoping to find a super deal for Red River. They also have their seat views, so you can get the visual, see what your seat is going to be like, whether you go to the Cotton Bowl or whether you're in Death Valley or the Big House. They got it all there, folks. They have their seat views, all of that, and you can check out with all major credit card providers, Apple Pay, Venmo, Google Pay. Simple and easy. Your purchase is covered with the most flexible customer service policy in the ticketing industry. Download the Game Time app, create an account, and use code ChatSports for $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, create an account, redeem code CHATSPORTS for $20 off. Download Game Time today. What time is it? Game Time. The link is in the comments and the description of today's video. Lincoln Riley is next on our list from USC. They started off the season with a bang, beating LSU as they were an underdog there in Las Vegas. And since then, you lost to Michigan at the Big House. And then this past week, you lose to Minnesota on the road. And USC now sits at 3-2 with a 1-2 record in Big Ten play. And what I think that we've seen from Lincoln Riley, it's very clear and obvious to anybody that's paying attention, this team just simply was not Big Ten ready for what was coming their way of the step up and play from what they had dealt with in the Pac-12 to go into the Big Ten. And last year, you think about it, you had the best player in the country in Caleb Williams, and you could only win 7 games. And I know there was questions about the defense. They changed up some things and all that. And now you fast forward here to 2024, and where's the results to show for it? Lincoln Riley, one of the highest paid coaches in all of college football. When he was at Oklahoma, they got worse every single year he was there, and Oklahoma doesn't miss him one bit. Now you look at where USC is at. This is starting to go downhill quickly, it seems. And for those of you that may say, well, they've invested too much, they're going in long-term on Lincoln Riley, think about this. Clay Helton, you remember him? At this point in Lincoln Riley's tenure, compared to Clay Helton has a better win-loss record than Lincoln Riley does. So I don't think it's too early to be talking about Lincoln Riley on the hot seat just yet. Let's talk Hugh Freeze at Auburn. And Hugh Freeze did a really good job at Ole Miss, and then people found his phone records, and the rest is history. And went through the Liberty Jerry Falwell rehabilitation program and did a fairly good job at Liberty. Goes to Auburn, and they're struggling. 2-4, 0-3. Peyton Thorne, his quarterback, has just been disastrous. They blew that game against Oklahoma at home to a true freshman in Michael Hawkins starting at quarterback. OU came back from down 3 scores to win that football game. Just what the hell is going on at Auburn? The Cal loss was bad enough a few weeks ago, and now you have this Oklahoma loss. They looked decent against Georgia, kind of held their own a bit, but for the money that Auburn has to their disposal and the expectations there, where are the results for Hugh Freeze at this point in time? It just kind of blows my mind that they aren't better than what they are. He's supposed to be this offensive genius, this recruiting czar, and the results just simply aren't there for Hugh Freeze at this moment. Kirk Ferentz, the longest tenured coach in all of college football, has been pretty steady Eddie over his career, averaging between 7 to 9 wins this season, and that's been A-OK for Iowa. But then last year, with how bad that offense was, they forced Ferentz to fire his own son, Brian Ferentz, his offensive coordinator, make the change, and they were hoping for better results. Now here we are, and Iowa sits at 3-2, 1-1 in Big Ten play, and the offense does not look a whole lot better, which was supposed to be a more modern offense that they were changing to. And here we are, and it seems like this could be the end of an era for Kirk Ferentz here, that the end is near at this point, that he's looking washed. They gave him a mulligan with letting him move on from his son. Now that he doesn't have that scapegoat, Ferentz, I think, is the next possible scapegoat in that scenario. Then we turn our attention to Dave Aranda and the Baylor Bears. Just a few years ago, Dave Aranda won a Big 12 title at Baylor, but it has gone downhill since. Currently, right now, the Bears are 2-4 on the season, 0-3 in Big 12 play. They also have a non-conference loss to Utah, who is in their league as well. They can't figure out the quarterback situation, and Dave Aranda is supposed to be this physical-minded coach, and this team is supposed to take on his mentality. And all I've seen from Dave Aranda is I get fake tough guy vibes. I'm not seeing the results with what he's trying to display, of what he's trying to do with this Baylor team, that this team is not bought in what he's selling at all right now, it would seem. And that Baylor job's a good job. When you talk about being in a power conference with having all the money Baylor does, good facilities, good resources, get to recruit in the state of Texas, and they are a long ways away from what they were as a Big 12 title team just a couple of years ago. Who will be the first Power 4 coach fired this season? We've already gone through several. We got a few more to get to. Weigh in. Let us know in the comment section who you think that is. For the best college football coverage you won't find anywhere else, you got to subscribe to College Football Now by Chat Sports. We're bringing you everything from coaching searches to NIL, the transfer portal. We're talking conference realignment. We're counting you down to the college football playoff and more. Plenty of coverage here on College Football Now. If you're a diehard college football fan, this is the channel for you. Subscribe now for free, youtube.com/chatsportstv. Mack Brown at North Carolina, and this story is starting to look eerily similar to how things ended for Mack Brown at the University of Texas. Currently, the Tar Heels are sitting at 3-3, 0-2 in ACC play. And what's fascinating is part of the appeal of the job for Mack Brown to come to North Carolina from when he was at Texas was the bar was pretty low, that they just wanted him to be somewhere between 7 to 9 wins a year. He didn't have to compete for national titles like he did at Texas. They know they're a basketball school, but they're not even looking like that right now. And Drake May's not walking through that door anytime soon. Sam Howell's not around. And we talk about comparing it what he was at Texas. Remember life after Colt McCoy and Vince Young and all that? Yeah, it wasn't very good. So North Carolina got some issues. They're trying to stand out so they can be potentially in position to get to the SEC or the Big Ten in the next round of realignment, and the football program's not holding their own with Mack Brown leading the way. A few more here for you. We'll go through these real quick. Scott Satterfield at Cincinnati. He replaced Luke Fickell, who went on to Wisconsin, and right now they're sitting at 3-2, 1-1 in Big 12 play, and it doesn't look like things are going up from here. Remember, this is a program that made the college football playoff a few years ago. And I didn't even like the hire at the time. He struggled at Louisville. And for whatever reason, they thought that he was going to be successful at Cincinnati. Yeah, I could have told you that wasn't going to work. Jeff Lebby at Mississippi State, first-year head coach, but things aren't going very well at all. I mean, they got blown out by Florida a few weeks ago. They sit at 1-4. They're 0-2 in SEC play. It has been a rough start for Jeff Lebby at this point in time. And for those of you that may be thinking, they're not going to fire a first-year head coach, are they? Well, they did so just last year. So Jeff Lebby better watch his back based on how that program's run loyalty-wise. Last on our list is not the Oklahoma State school superintendent, Ryan Walters, but rather the Purdue head coach, Ryan Walters, former Illinois defensive coordinator, also on our list. And you look at Walters' situation, they're at 1-4. He was supposed to be this defensive genius coming over from Illinois, working with the likes of Devin Witherspoon and some of the other players that he's had there, and they're just not showing those results, 0-2. And not to mention the offense has been awful. They just fired Graham Harrell as their offensive coordinator. Graham Harrell's one of the most respected minds offensively in college football, working with programs like USC and West Virginia and Texas Tech, and you couldn't make Graham Harrell work as OC? Something's not right there. Who is a coach that deserves to get fired? Who do you want to get out of here? Weigh in, let us know what you think. Appreciate you joining us here on this edition of College Football Now. If you enjoyed today's show, like the video. We thank you for it, and we'll see you next time.